Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about something today that could potentially increase your income, potentially, or just increase the value of your life and even maybe some abundance. A different way at looking at money. And this is not a sales pitch and making it work for you, but if you think of it in a certain way, this is making it work for you. And he is a life coach, success coach, author, mentor, speaker. Dr. Bary Fleet is back with us. Bary, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, Steve. I'm good. Thanks for listening to me today.
I really want to learn more about this. And in my travels, I've found that we have relationships with money. We have a relationship. Things go on, and I've often heard that you're supposed to invite money to the dinner table, like just play safe the whole thing there, pretend it's a guest. But when we talk about a different way of looking at money, what are we looking at here?
So a different way. So we tend to think about money as bills to pay, the price of things, how much things cost, expense, all of this. And when we think that way, a lot of us feel overwhelmed, we feel inadequate, we feel a lot of stress around that. So my invitation, and this idea is not original to me, it comes from Robert Scheinfeld in a book he wrote called Busting Loose from the Money Game. But his contention is that money exists for the sole purpose of expressing appreciation. So instead of thinking about how much things cost, we see that as a request for appreciation. And the same thing with the bill is a request for appreciation. So for example, I just got my utility bills for gas and electric. And with the air conditioning and with the weather we've been having, my electric jumped up.
Yep.
So I can either be upset with how much my electricity is costing me, or I can step back and be appreciative for the service of electricity.
And how it makes you feel, right? The comfort that you get from the air conditioning. You couldn't do life without lights and all of that. Is that what we're talking about?
It is, but it also involves, you could think about what it is that gets electricity into my home. There are a lot of people that have been involved in the process. Somewhere in the world is something that is generating the electricity. There are people who built that facility. There are other people that built the distribution system, put in the poles, the wires, all of that. And when I stop and think about all that's involved in bringing electricity into my house, how much do I appreciate all of that? Or do I just look at this number?
Yeah. I like the way we're looking at this because it's another layer. I first got from you that we're appreciative of the way we feel because of the electricity, because we use money to pay for it. But you go layers deeper. You're not just appreciating something for yourself, you're appreciating something that others have done. Put in the infrastructure, put the poles up, and put everything in place. So it's you know what? We talked about this a while ago, being grateful. So sounds like you're being grateful.
So it is. And here's the difference between, in my mind, between gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude has to do with a particular service. Often that's something that somebody did for me. Gratuity, a tip. We tip the hostess, we tip the server because they have provided a specific service. But appreciation, as you said, is so much larger than that. Thinking about stopping on a day like today and grabbing a cup of iced coffee. And I can look at the cost, how much it's going to cost me, $5 or $6 or whatever, depending on. Or I can appreciate the fact that somebody had an idea about putting a store in this particular location and building it. And somebody had the idea of putting this business there, of providing coffee, hot, cold, whatever, with all different ways of flavoring it, and there's sweeteners and all of this. And somebody's working today behind the cash register taking my order, and somebody else is filling the cup. And somewhere along the line, somebody made the cup.
Mm.
There was a factory that made the cup, and some truck driver hauled those to this particular location. And so there's a whole process involved in me driving to the drive-up window and picking up a cup of coffee. So when I stop and think about all that was involved for me to have this cup of iced coffee on a day like today, and the convenience of it, it gives me a very different feeling when I hand the cashier the money.
That's true appreciation from the top to the bottom. That's everything right there. If you just take a second and think about all these things that were involved in it, then you really, really do much more appreciate it.
Absolutely. And the other part is, most everybody I know has looked at one thing or another and said, oh, I can't afford that. And the truth is that most of the time people could afford it. They just don't want to spend that much money for it. And so instead of saying I can't afford that, which is a limiting statement, to be able to say, I don't appreciate it that much. I wouldn't appreciate it that much.
It takes a negative and makes it not so much.
It does. So, there's a part of me that would love to drive a Mercedes sports car. I could say, well, I could never afford that. The truth is, if it were really that important, I could find the money. But the real truth is, when I look at a car, I wouldn't appreciate, I don't appreciate, for me, I wouldn't appreciate that kind of expression of appreciation. I don't appreciate it that much. I'm real happy with my little Prius.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I appreciate that every time I get in and push the button and it starts. So you're right. It's gratitude combined with a bigger, deeper picture of what's involved. So when somebody says, how much is it? Well, how much is that going to cost? What I'm really asking that person is, what's the requested appreciation for this? And then I can say, I'm not going to appreciate it that much. Or, okay, that's fair. Here's my expression of appreciation. So this is a habit I got into. So I don't know if you still write paper checks, but that used to be the standard way people.
Yep.
I know people now that don't write paper checks, don't have paper checks. But in the days of paper checks, in that memo line at the bottom, I started the practice of saying, thank you for this. So if it's paying for the electricity that I consumed this past month, thank you for providing this. If it's my car payment, thank you for providing the service that allows me to drive this car without having the title to it.
It's almost as if you're putting a good intention out there. And let's face it, the chance that somebody from the power company is going to see it, probably slim. It's probably scanned and there's artificial intelligence or whatever. Somebody does. How fantastic is that? It's right. Like leaving a tip for somebody at the restaurant and saying thank you on the, on the credit statement. But it's showing true gratitude, and your intention is there. And we've always said you have to put the gratitude out there for the good stuff to come back to you.
Yeah, I came across an expression the other day. What you appreciate appreciates.
I just heard the same one, and it was for the first time the other day. And it's true. How about that relationship with money? What are some of the other things that we can be mindful of?
Well, I think just our relationship with it. I mean, this is going to be a stretch for a lot of people, but if we saw that money is a way of expressing love, there is an unlimited amount of love available in the world.
Okay.
So if money is an expression of that, then there's a way in which there's an unlimited amount of ways of expressing appreciation available to me.
Now, when you say the love part, when you're expressing love from the money, can that also be love for yourself if you bought yourself something?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
But the mindset of changing from expense to expressing appreciation.
Sure.
The overhead. You've got overhead there for your studio to run your studio. That's kind of a fixed monthly expression of appreciation.
When you look at it that way, and we always look at it as a negative, and I'll be the first one when I got to break out the big checkbook, and I still write checks. Still write checks because the accountant said continue with that for a little bit longer. It's almost if it hurts to do it. And not that I don't appreciate what people have done, but there's also something about the hand to the mind connection. It's so much easier if you're just going to put a routing number on, send that to somebody and they just take it out of your account and it's just,
Yeah.
I just had a type and I'm done. This is you're intentionally writing it. So it almost hurts a little bit more like it's going away, but
So another way of looking at that is this is a personal way of me expressing appreciation to this person, to this agency, to this service provider.
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead of just hitting a few buttons and sending it off, it invites me to appreciate whatever it is that's involved.
And more times than not, people who, when checks are written, people see them. We talked before about the power company. Maybe there's a chance, machine sees it and just looks at the amount. Yeah, possibility, but a lot of people do pay online for that kind of stuff. I write checks for other things. And usually, if you're going to write a check, usually somebody is going to see it. So they are going to see your thank you in the memo line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. And look what it does for them. Look what it's doing for you.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't like to hear an expression of appreciation?
Yeah. It's the best thing. Even you send an email, think of something to thank them for.
Yeah.
Got nothing to lose.
Yeah. We just had the street in front of our house was just repaved within the last couple of weeks. And I took a walk today and I saw a couple of guys from the company that did the work. And I just yelled up and I said, I really appreciate the quality of the work that you guys do in putting in new roads. And it was amazing to see this guy's face light up. Now he's putting diesel fuel into a truck to go haul asphalt. But to hear an expression of appreciation, it's like it made his day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that didn't cost me anything.
But look what it did.
And that's the idea behind this is that when we get in the habit of looking for opportunities to express appreciation, those opportunities are all around us. And they include electricity, natural gas for the car itself, groceries, whatever. I mean, there's been a lot of conversation about how much groceries cost these days, what it costs to go to the supermarket.
Yeah. Yep.
And it certainly is. They are asking for a higher expression of appreciation than they used to.
Okay. Yeah.
But when I stop and think about what's involved in me picking up that bag of fresh cherries and half a gallon of milk and everything else that's there. And when I get to the cashier, this is my way of expressing appreciation for all that was involved in all of the pieces that I'm able to take home with me and use for nourishment.
Yeah. it makes you think. And like you said, I'm a believer in when you look for a sign, let's say just the universe, hey, throw me a sign that this is, going to be okay, whatever it might be. If you open yourself up and you're looking, you're going to find something very specific, not just some random thing that I was looking for that and I made it into something. You're going to see it because you're open to it. And I think it's the same way when you look for ways to show gratitude, to say thank you. Like you exit your car, you're going to walk down the street, whatever it might be. I'm going to say thank you for something. You're going to find it. There's going to be something there. What you don't, half the time we don't even know we're doing it and we're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, um, the other day, Saturday, when I was at the grocery store picking up a few things, I thanked the cashier for being willing to work on a Saturday.
These are the
And her,
things you don't think of.
and her face lit up. So it's this whole thing of expressing appreciation for the people in our lives and all the service providers that we take for granted. And again, thinking about, go back to the supermarket. Think about how many truck drivers had to show up in order for that supermarket to be stocked with everything that's there and is available to me. And so when I hit the cash register at the supermarket, I'm also expressing appreciation for those folks. And for all, go back to the coffee again. Somebody grew the coffee, somebody harvested it, somebody shipped it, somebody roasted it, somebody delivered it to the particular location.
The packaging, right?
Yeah, all of that. So it's an invitation to be more aware of the bigger picture. And I think the more we're aware of the bigger picture, the more the less self-absorbed we become. And when I think about an opportunity to express appreciation, that money is a tool that I can use to express appreciation.
Okay. All right. Now it comes crystal clear. Now the dots are all connected in
Yeah.
that, because it's the end goal. The end goal is to show appreciation.
Right.
And money helps you get to that goal.
Right.
Hmm.
And when I see it as a tool for me to express appreciation, I think more about what I have than what I don't have.
Gratitude again.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. And I have to imagine, well, we always say if you show gratitude, more good things come your way because you're just opening yourself up to the universe, and it just comes down to love. You're showing love.
And it also goes back to something we've talked about before, and that is we see what we're looking for. And if I'm looking for ways to express gratitude, if I'm looking for ways to express thanks, I'll see them. They'll be there. The universal set up a blinker and it says, here's one,
and put it in your face.
And put it in your face. But what I've found with this is the more I immerse myself in this notion, the less I worry about money and the more grateful I am for opportunities to express appreciation.
Well, when you flip it around, you're not wanting something. I wish I had more money because, then I'd have that. Then I'd have that. You're not looking for stuff. You just want to show appreciation.
Right.
So and you reframe it as well. Like you said before, it's, I don't have enough money for that. No, I don't really appreciate it that much, because if you really want it, somehow it'll find its way to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this whole idea, my invitation to folks is to just play with the idea that of the power of gratitude, the power of appreciation. And we've talked before about gratitude practice, keeping a journal, whatever. And this is just sort of expanding on that theme. Because like I said, we go to a restaurant and there's a gratuity, which is an expression of gratitude to the server. But then there's what we often think about as the bill. But that's the restaurant's request for appreciation for everything that's involved in them being there and all the thought that goes into having all of the ingredients and the people that have prepared the ingredients for me to enjoy this particular meal.
Wow.
So
it makes the big things seem big. It makes the little things sound big. Because if you show appreciation for that cup of coffee and you go through all the steps of reasons why you appreciate it, you really do appreciate. It's not just a cup of coffee. It's a feeling. It's this, you really, appreciate having the money for that coffee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when people say, I don't want to spend $8 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks, that's okay. But the truth is, they don't appreciate coffee that much.
Sure.
And that's okay. That's okay. But it doesn't put me in a position of lack. It just allows me to make an honest statement.
Right. And lack is negative. And why do we never want to go on the negative side of things? And also, I'm not going to pay that for that coffee over there. I'm going to go over here, the fast food place. The coffee's good. It's because you really appreciate that over there. And you don't need that so much because you really do appreciate that one from the fast food place.
Right.
Interesting way to look at things, and does align with stuff that we've talked about before in terms of gratitude and how that really kicks up your life.
And it goes to a deeper level about consciousness. And the more conscious I am of everything in the moment, the better I feel. And it also goes to the difference between coming from a place of lack, not having enough, to a place of being grateful for all that I have and all that the universe makes available to me.
Yeah. I can't wait to spend money.
You can't wait to express gratitude.
That's what I'm talking about. And this is, the way you work with people to change their lives. You could take somebody that's very negative, has issues with that, and then you flip it around to a more positive mindset, and life, the happy door opens up. And that's just the beginning of, some of the stuff you do in terms of coaching. Let's learn more. If we go to your website, we can find more about you. You have a great website, by the way.
Thank you.
It's your name. What's the URL?
So www.drbaryfleet.com, DRBARYFLEET.com. Go there, watch my TEDx talk on your inner magnificence. You can order my book from there. It's not on the website yet, but I've got a new book coming out, hopefully within the next 4 to 6 weeks. But my contact information is there. And if you'd like to talk more about this, my email is there. My cell phone is there. Text me, call me. Let's talk. I'd appreciate it.
Yes. And you know what? If you get Bary's book, you're going to love it and you're going to appreciate it. And that's why you're giving him money for it, because it's well done. And we appreciate you. Bary, thanks for being here today.
Steve, thank you. And I appreciate you so much.
And I appreciate that too.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.